You ever stop and think about what actually holds your clothes together? I mean, not just the fabric, but all those tiny little pieces that make them work? Well, today, we're going to trace the journey from those familiar threads and buttons all the way to the digital pixels that are about to totally remake our wardrobes. It's a wild story of how fashion is literally being coded, one layer at a time.
No, I mean, really think about it. Just take a look at what you're wearing right now. Beyond the cloth itself, there's this whole hidden ecosystem of small, functional parts that make your outfit, well, an outfit. We almost never notice them, but trust me, without them, everything would just fall apart.
Yep, I'm talking about the real unsung heroes of your closet. The zippers, the buttons, the threads that hold it all together, the labels, elastics, and all those little trims. These are the fundamental building blocks of everything we wear, the tiny details that make a huge, huge difference. So let's start right there, with these hidden building blocks. Because for centuries, these are the essential pieces that have given our clothes their shape, their function, and, their personality. So there's actually a technical name for this stuff: textile accessories. But don't let that fancy name fool you. These aren't just little decorative add-ons. They are absolutely crucial for a piece of clothing's function, its strength, its final look and feel, basically everything. And this stuff gets super specialized. I mean, just take zippers. You've got those chunky metal ones on your jeans that are meant to be seen and take a beating. Then you've got invisible zippers on dresses that are designed to completely vanish into the seam. Each one is its own little piece of engineering made for a very specific job. And this really shows you the two hats these accessories wear. You've got function and you've got style. On one side, you have a simple polyester thread that has one job: hold a seam together. But on the other, you have something like mother-of-pearl buttons that just scream luxury, or those wide drawstrings that totally define the look of a hoodie. They're doing a job, sure, but they're also telling a story.
Okay, so we've got a handle on these traditional building blocks, the stuff that's been refined over hundreds of years. But what happens when a totally new way of making things crashes the party? One with the power to shake up, well, everything? Yep, that's where 3D printing comes in.
And listen, this is not science fiction. It is happening right now. 3D printing is actively changing how the entire industry works, from that first sketch to the finished product. It's a huge tectonic shift in how we create clothes.
So what in the world is 3D printing anyway? The technical term is additive manufacturing, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. Instead of taking a big block of something and carving away at it, you start with nothing and you build an object from a digital file, adding one tiny layer of material at a time.
It really boils down to just these three steps. First, you create your design on a computer. Then, the printer reads that digital file and starts putting down material, layer by tiny layer. And finally, all those layers fuse together and poof, you have a solid, real object. From a computer file to a physical thing, just like that.
Okay, so we get the how. But what about the why? Why is this technology such a massive game changer for fashion? Let's dive into the incredible promise of going digital first.
It really comes down to three huge benefits: a level of creativity that was just impossible before, a much more sustainable, on-demand way of making things, and, of course, a crazy leap in speed and efficiency.
Let's talk sustainability first. Think about how we usually make clothes. You roll out a huge piece of fabric, lay down some patterns, and cut out the shapes. What about all those bits and pieces left over? That's waste, and the fashion industry makes a ton of it.
3D printing completely flips that script. Because it's an additive process, meaning it adds material, it only uses the exact amount it needs to build the object. There are no scraps, no leftovers. We're talking near zero material waste, which is a massive win for the planet.
And it's not just about waste, it's also about moving at lightning speed. Traditionally, making a physical sample of a design can take weeks, sometimes even months of shipping things back and forth. With 3D printing, a designer can have an idea and hold a physical version of it in their hands in just a matter of hours. That kind of speed completely changes the game.
But maybe the real revolution here is the creative freedom it just unleashes. This technology opens up a whole new visual language for designers. They can create these incredibly intricate, complex shapes, structures that were physically impossible to make with a needle and thread. Seriously, the only limit is what they can dream up. So, with all this amazing potential, what does the future of your wardrobe actually look like? And what's stopping us from just 3D printing all our clothes right now? Let's get real about what's ahead.
Right, it's important to be realistic. The technology isn't perfect, at least not yet. There are still some pretty big hurdles. For one, the materials often aren't as soft or flexible as the fabrics we're used to. The printers and materials can be expensive, and then there are big questions about durability and, of course, how you protect a digital design from being easily copied.
But even with those challenges, the industry is charging ahead. And it's really focusing on three key areas that are about to completely change what fashion even means. We're talking about total customization, truly sustainable production, and the birth of smart, interactive clothing.
So what does this future actually feel like? Well, first, imagine clothes that are printed based on a 3D scan of your body, for a perfect, custom fit every single time. Then, picture a world where clothes are only made after you've ordered them, which would completely get rid of the insane waste from overproduction. And finally, think about smart clothes, with sensors and tech printed right into the fabric that could, monitor your health or even change color based on your mood.
And that brings us right back to where we started. We've journeyed from physical threads to digital code, and it leaves us with one final, pretty wild question to chew on. Will your next favorite outfit be something you download instead of something you buy off a rack?